Welcome back to Amerisogyny. I'm your host, Hannah Blue. You're listening to episode 94. I can do good all by myself. Well, hello, my listeners. I am back. And as promised, I have a fun show lined up for you today where we're going to talk about some things. We're also going to travel a bit. I miss that. I miss going into other countries and getting into their business. We're going to take a trip to China and share a yummy recipe from the Philippines. And I have a few other stories to sprinkle into the pot. And as usual, we're not here for a long time. We're here for a good time. But before we start traveling around the globe, let's get into one of my favorite topics, toxic body culture. Yeah, that's right. Some people are stuck on skinny, and I think it's stuck on stupid. Because let me tell you, I have been dieting and exercising since I was 9. I've been up and down. Never been skinny. I'll say I've been smaller. But let me fill you in on a little secret. Just because you're skinny, it doesn't mean your life is magical and beautiful. It also doesn't mean it's a guaranteed route to happiness. When you have dieted for as long as I have and haven't always done it the right way, once you get to where you think you are, guess what? When you look in the mirror, you still think you're fat. Now, other people could look at you and be like, girl, what are you talking about? You look great. But to yourself, you don't. You'll always be big. And on the flip side, just because you're big, that doesn't mean your life is trash. There's a common and very loud and wrong misconception that skinny people are healthy and fat people are unhealthy. That's just not true. There are skinny people who have chronic diabetes, high cholesterol, and a variety of other illnesses, while there are people who are fat who have never had a problem with cholesterol or triglycerides. They don't have heart issues. They don't have breathing problems. But somehow, in some way, the toxic 90s diet culture has slowly crept its way back, especially on social media. Beauty isn't a one-size-fits-all category, and the same can be said for good health. I'll say it again. Skinny does not mean someone is healthy, and fat doesn't mean you're unhealthy. And with that, let's get ready for our first stop, South Korea. Some South Korean netizens are wagging their tongues about Kim Shin-young's recent weight gain. But the comedian says her diabetes has improved. Let's get into it. She appeared on You Quiz on the Block on June 10th. She said that she maintained her weight for 13 years at a whopping 97 pounds. She said what made her snap out of it, and I'm paraphrasing, were the final words from Professor, the late Jeon Yu-sung. According to her, he said, I want to eat jambong right now, but I can't. So you should eat whatever you want and live your life. Kim Shin-young said his words stayed with her for a long time, and she felt she spent too much of her life saying, I can't eat this. She wouldn't even eat birthday cake. At his funeral, she thought, what do I need to do to be happy? And she said, more than the time I spent holding on to maintain 97 pounds, which is 44 kilograms, what came to mind first was the time I kept pushing away the food I wanted to eat. After she started eating again, she said, it took exactly 6 weeks to gain the weight back. But here's what she said that is really important. She had once been at risk of type 2 diabetes at 97 pounds. But now that she's gained weight, her numbers have returned to normal. In her dieting days, she only ate healthy food and was very thin, but her test results were poor. She later learned that stress was the cause of her diabetes. She said, once I started eating, the world felt easier. I used to be much sharper than before. And in addressing the netizens' concern over her rapid weight gain, she said, I originally had high cholesterol. The reason I lost weight in the first place was because of health issues. Even after dieting, I was still considered at risk for type 2 diabetes. And I wondered, why is this happening when I'm thin and eating healthy? Again, the diabetes risk was caused by stress. She said, I started eating chocolate snacks and everything else I wanted. I had all my blood sugar levels tested, and they were completely normal. I'm actually more comfortable now. And that's my point. A lot of people are in an uproar because she gained weight, but she's healthier now than what she was when she was very thin and eating healthy. So what's the common denominator here, guys? Where do we draw the line? Where do we compromise? Just because you might see a body that doesn't look ideal to you, it doesn't mean it's not ideal. When people see bodies that they feel aren't ideal, they go crazy. And I just don't understand it. What is this hold that skinny has on you? Who told you that skinny is beautiful and skinny is perfect and skinny is everything? It's not. And thank God Sports Illustrated shows a variety of bodies, real bodies I call them, instead of shoestring potato sticks. Yeah, I said it. Sports Illustrated recently had a swimsuit runway show, but their models say everybody is a target online. I personally love the show. I loved seeing wider hips, wider waist, beautiful colors, and the women just flaunting their stuff. Sports Illustrated has been including women of all sizes, all ages, all races since 2021, and I am in their corner. Now, when the event streamed on Hulu and Disney Plus, which I no longer have, I canceled it after they showed out and tried to cancel Jimmy Kimmel. Never got it back. But I digress. When it streamed on Hulu and Disney, there were more than a few that criticized the women. And let me tell you, it never comes from somebody who looks like V of BTS or Ji Chang-wook or Jason Momoa. It's always the uglies, the dusties, especially the ones that live at home with their mammies that have something to say. This show was designed to celebrate women of all shapes and sizes, and still people had to bring the hate. Remy Bader is an Instagram influencer, and she didn't escape any backlash about her look. She said, I felt like for so long I was so afraid to talk about my body, my weight loss surgery, anything related to health, because I've become so afraid of what people say online or think of me. At this point, I can't win. Now, I mentioned the toxic diet culture of the 90s. By the 2010s, we had shifted towards a body positivity movement. Well, it looks like we're shifting away from that again. And it all stems from people hating on stars when they're on the red carpet, talking about everything from their breast size to their butt size to their waistline, promoting GLP-1 drugs. It's just crazy. They even bashed Bethany Frankel, who's a celebrity. Now, she's as thin can get. But people had an issue with her being in the show. Frankel said, so I guess we have to discuss what I looked like on that runway because the internet is so fascinated with my age, my weight, my face, my hair. She claims people made such a big deal about her age when she participated in the show for the first time, and went on to say, people are allowed to be happy. And for years, people wanted body inclusivity. Then people went back to the, glamazon aliens. How about this? Do whatever the F you want to do. According to some health experts, they say people treat bodies like trends, and I do agree. Jennifer Harriger is a professor of psychology at Pepperdine University. She specializes in body image and social media. And according to her, people just swap one unrealistic ideal for another. Tumblr used to have pro-anorexia content, and that has evolved into skinny talk. This is a hashtag that people use to post content on TikTok, teaching others how to get skinny using dangerous, convoluted ways. I have said this so many times, and I'll say it again. TikTok needs to be taken down. This is why TikTok is at the center of so many lawsuits, because their content is harmful. Children have died doing these trends. We don't need another social media outlet that puts morons at front and center to tell people, hey, this is what you do to look skinny and possibly kill yourself. It is not that serious, guys. If you think skinny is worth dying for, you don't need TikTok. You need a psychiatrist. And I say that with love. What others think of you isn't more important than what you think of yourself. Now, TikTok banned the hashtag last year, but the content is still there. People are still engaging in dangerous behaviors. So what's the point of banning it? Just ban the entire platform. I can't stand TikTok. Harriger says societal notions about what a woman's body should look like thrive on social media. I agree, and that's why social media is harmful. The algorithm will keep pushing content as users engage with it until people are just bombarded with messages about very unrealistic ideals. And that is true. I don't think GLP-1 has done any favors for anyone who is struggling to accept themselves. I think people who are diabetic could benefit from it, but people who are losing it just to lose weight, it wasn't designed for that. And no matter where you look, you see these ads for GLP-1. I'm not judging anybody who wants to take it to get skinny so they can look cute. You do you. But as for me and mine, I'm going to do it the right way. Because for every drug that we put into our bodies, you best believe there are side effects and consequences. There are videos out there that talk about gastroparesis where your intestines are paralyzed. Yeah, that's a real side effect. And the way GLP is promoted, it's just like as soon as you take this drug and you lose all this weight, your life is just going to get so magical. No, it won't. Being thin doesn't guarantee you a good life. I even used GLP-1 in Platarius too. And the way I incorporated it into the book was it was a tool for Queen Bravari to take over the world. Not just the drug, but people's need to be accepted by others. A lack of self-love is a drug in itself. It feeds on you. It's invisible psychological acid that corrupts your mind and your heart until there's nothing left for you. Michaela Jamison writes a Substack newsletter called Body Type, and she and Harrison agree that the key to making online conversations about bodies less toxic can be found within online communities themselves. Jamison said, expand your feeds, follow different types of people, look around at what the bodies in your real life look like, and that is crucial. When you turn off social media and you go outside, you don't see people walking around looking like Beyonce every day. It's just not possible. Beyonce has trainers. So does Halle Berry, Rebecca Romaine, all of these people that you're trying to look like. They have trainers. They have chefs. That's not how normal people live. Ella Halikas is a plus-size model, and she says what's difficult is getting people to stop focusing on one ideal body type. Let me tell you how to do that. Stop getting on social media. Come out here in the real world and touch some grass. See some real people. She says she's tired of still having to talk about bodies, and so am I. I agree with her. It's 2026. Why are we still trying to find a correlation between self-worth, versus fat and skinny. Ridiculous. And with that, we're going to move on. Now, me being the little rebel that I am, I have a recipe for you. Don't know how to say this, so please forgive me, Filipino community. Orakoya Kasoba. It's a mom, the son, and her 2 daughters. They are just hilarious. And when she says, your father, oh my God, the lady is hilarious. All of them are. Well, I saw her making some yummy chicken soup, and I said this would be a good recipe to share with you guys. It is Filipino sopas. Here are the ingredients. 1 pack of medium-sized shell pasta or macaroni, 1 to 2 pounds of chicken thighs and legs, 1 head of garlic, 1 onion, 3 to 4 stalks of celery, 2 to 3 chopped carrots, 1 cup of white button mushrooms, 1/4 of a cabbage head, 1 can of quail eggs or hard-boiled eggs, 1 teaspoon of pepper, 2 teaspoons of chicken powder or chicken bouillon, 2 teaspoons of MSG or salt, 6 cups of water or more, 1 can of evaporated milk, and fish sauce to taste. She started by browning the chicken in the pan, and then she threw in the garlic and the onion. You guys know, we know how to make chicken soup, but this right here, it looked absolutely bomb when she got done with it. So if you guys try it, shoot me an email at 21bluelash@gmail.com and let me know how you liked it. Now, we just wrapped up one toxic trend. Let's move on to another. This one is a toxic dating trend, and it's called kitten fishing. So what is kitten fishing? It's called the new catfishing, and some say it's worse. It's where people tell little white lies about their height, age, education, and photos to make themselves be more attractive to somebody they want to snag. Now, these little white lies might lead to trust issues and disappointment once the person sees your heavily edited photos look nothing like you. But let's be real. Is this really new? I don't think so. I think people have been lying since the beginning of time, and ever since online dating started, that's what people have been doing. I think the only difference is we didn't have AI 20 or 30 years ago where people can make themselves look like gods and goddesses. And some of you need to stop doing that, because if you go missing, nobody's going to find you. According to experts, which I could have told you this myself, the behavior stems from insecurity and the desire to stand out in a highly competitive online dating marketplace. This isn't going to land a relationship, guys. And for some of you, it might get you an ass whooping. People are crazy these days. You have to be careful. It doesn't matter if you're lying about your nose or your education or your job. You're lying. And most people don't want a liar in their beds. Because if you lie about that, you can lie about anything. So bottom line, let the person see what they're going to get, not an illusion. Now let's talk about another toxic relationship trend. It's called Banksying or Banksying. It was named for the artist Banksy, who's known for art that pops up out of nowhere and comes with a cryptic twist. So what is Banksying? In a relationship, the partner slowly withdraws emotionally from their partner without telling them. When it comes time to break up, the Bankseer feels better because they've already mentally checked out of the relationship. But the other partner is confused and blindsided by the decision. Why not just be honest? If you're no longer feeling this person or you don't like what they do, why not just speak up and say so? See, I don't have time for stuff like this. It's just ridiculous. This technique is intentional. It's used to destroy the relationship before the other person sees it coming. And again, this is nothing new. People are just putting a new, cute little name on it. You know, it's like the bootcut jeans that were around in the 70s. And honestly, I don't see how anyone who's been in a relationship with someone can do that to their partner. It's immature and selfish. It's cowardly. And it's totally unfair to the partner because sometimes they can sense that something is wrong, but the partner keeps telling them, oh no, everything is fine, instead of just being brave and honest and not acting like a coward and saying, hey, I'm just not feeling this anymore. Truthfully, it's emotional manipulation. And some people do it just long enough for them to find somebody else. And then they move on to that relationship because they don't want to be alone. That way, they're not giving up any of the benefits they already have. So how you can avoid this, remember what I told you in the previous episode. Look at what they do. Don't worry about what they say. Listen to that energy. If their energy is funky or off, trust it. Don't go by their lies with them saying, oh, everything is okay, everything is fine, you're just tripping. No. You trust that energy if you're feeling emotional distance. Don't let them gaslight you, and don't you gaslight yourself. When you start feeling a disconnect, get rid of them before they can get rid of you. And that'll stop the BS right then and there, because you don't deserve that. You don't deserve somebody to play with your feelings. Let them go on and play with somebody else. Just because somebody might be conflict avoidant, that doesn't mean they are allowed to play with your feelings. Anybody who is not for you is against you, and they gotta go. Now let's get ready to take a trip out of the U.S. and talk about our last story, our destination, China. Now, China recently went viral, and not for anything good. In fact, I think it's absolutely disgusting. If you noticed, I don't really talk about China a lot on this show. I think there's a lot of anti-Blackness in East Asian countries, especially China. The Natasha doll controversy. This trend hit the scene on international social media, and the doll is a squishy silicone stress relief toy that is shaped like a baby. People have filmed themselves squeezing, stretching, stepping on, and even destroying the dark-skinned versions of the toy just for views. Now, this was already controversial, but it got worse after creators noticed that the darker-skinned dolls were specifically targeted in these videos. Am I saying that all of China is racist? No, I'm not. There's racism in every country, including mine. But this is inexcusable. When some of the content creators were asked why they did this to the darker skinned babies, they claimed that the lighter skinned dolls looked too human to mistreat without guilt. So what does that mean? That dark skinned people aren't human? The trend sparked a massive outrage and backlash, and rightfully so. Advocates point out that it normalizes violence and reinforces the historical dehumanization of Black people. I don't watch videos about Black people living in China because they annoy me. There's always somebody coming up to them asking them dumb questions or talking about them in their language without realizing that the Black person is fluent in Chinese and can understand every single thing they say. It's disgusting. What really got to me was some of the videos that they watch about real African babies being tortured, being hurt, pushed down, or kicked or hit. What does that say about these people? And I'm not saying it's China as a culture, but some of these people sit and watch these videos and they get hundreds of thousands of likes. How can you, in your right mind, look at a child being hurt and say it's okay? And what have Black people done to you? Nothing. Black people have done nothing to Chinese people. I say keep the advocacy going, people, because it's sick and it's not right. And let me tell you something. Had that little Natasha doll been Asian and Black people were doing it, oh my God, we would have caught it on a global scale, wouldn't we? Stress my ass. You're doing it because you're racist. Period. Well, my listeners, that's all I have for you today. You know I love to sit and talk to you, but I'm out of time. If you learned anything from this episode, you know what to do. Hit that follow button and follow me on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Samsung, iHeartRadio, YouTube Music, and you can catch this episode on my website, www.21bluelash.net. I have a new book coming out, you guys, and if you are fans of the Twilight Zone, you're gonna love A Time Traveler's Tea, and it has an all-black cast. And guess what? Ain't nobody getting squeezed in that one. It amplifies the beauty of Black folks and Black stories. I will be back with more stories. Until then, be easy. Have a great week. Keep up the good fight. And as always, God